This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and today we're taking a look at the Peak Design Outdoor Backpack 45 liter, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. So to kick things off, I should mention that this is a pre-production sample that Peak Design sent us, so thank you for sending us this sample so we can review it early. But if there are any minor differences between what you see on Peak Design's site and what I'm showing you here, it's maybe because of that. Maybe they changed something or something like that. So let's dive into the materials here. The primary material that we're working with is TerraShell 210D ripstop nylon. You can see it here on this material up here. See the ripstop texture there. Very lightweight, very durable, but also still highly water resistant. And then we have a laminate on the front face and the bottom here as well for extra protection for your gear from the rain and stuff like that. There is, I have it over here, a separate rain fly that you can purchase, which obviously is going to make this thing very, very impenetrable to the elements around you, whether that's snow, rain, whatever. What you do to purchase that separately. So this thing held up well in the rain, but if you're going somewhere where it rains all the time, or you're just a little bit worried about it, it's not worth, I mean, it's worth buying. I think it's only, like 30 bucks or something like that. So not a bad thing to splurge on, I think. We've got unbranded zippers, but I have had no issues with these here from Peak Design. The pulls are pretty small and can kind of dig into your finger a little bit. Didn't bother me so much, but I can see how that might be an issue. 2 zippers here, I like that you can kind of move them around. We have had issues with unbranded zippers in the past, but as I said, no real issues to report at all with these ones here. They've worked well. If anything happens, we will let you know. Got a Woojin buckle here on the hip belt. Really easy, quick release buckle. I like these new buckles that they're using. Just a little push on the button there and it pops off. Very easy and snappy, and it's not going to come off really. I can't imagine a situation where, I don't know why I've got the bag way over here. Can't imagine a situation where that's going to come off when you don't want it to, unless like something perfectly hits that button there. So happy with that. We do have other plastic and metal on the bag, mostly plastic. Peak Design stuff here, got a G-hook up here, or that's not the G-hook, this is the G-hook up here. So very durable stuff all around, but the materials are very lightweight, which I do like. So one of my favorite things on this pack are the side pockets here. So you have a larger side pocket and then a smaller one that's currently cinched down with one of these gear straps. So you can really fit large stuff inside of here. I put my travel tripod in here, no problem. And because there's 2 of them, you can put something big in the main one and then something smaller in the smaller pocket, obviously, but they do share space. So if you have something huge in the big one, you might not be able to put something as wide or like just with as much depth in the smaller one because they do share space. So I've got my 48-ounce Nalgene in this big one over here. You can hardly even see it because it is such a big pocket. But really like those for travel tripod, trekking poles, whatever you want to stow in them. On the top here, we do have a handle, very minimalistic, no padding or anything like that. Kind of what we're used to seeing from Peak Design. So it's not gonna add any weight or anything like that, but it's also not gonna add any comfort. So if you like holding a backpack by that, it's not the best backpack for it, but I like it because it stays out of the way, doesn't add any weight. So we have a very capable harness system here, and I think that's one of the best things about this pack is how capable it is, but it's also adjustable, which I like a lot as well. So up here on the top, you can see we have these various loops here. There's 4 of them. So depending on your frame size or how tall you are, whatever, whatever makes you the most comfortable, you can change that. So if you have a longer torso, or if you have like longer, just taller in general, and you want the backpack to fit better to your body size, you can change that. It is kind of difficult to do, but once you set your frame size, it's like you're not really gonna be changing it unless you're like growing or something like that. So that's not really a problem once you get it set. And then we have load lifters here as well, so you can kind of move the load around as you see fit. Very easy to use and just get around. There's a little bit of extra strap there, but not the end of the world if you ask me. These shoulder straps are very well padded, and we also have great aeration here. So it kind of fits like a running vest does. If you've ever worn a running vest, it's just got that same kind of vibe to it. Just very comfortable, more padded than a running vest is obviously. And we have 2 pockets, one on each side here for snacks. Maybe your phone will fit in there. You get various things you could probably stow inside there. Then we also have here where you can put I believe it's the capture clip from Peak Design, so that can attach there, so you can attach your camera right here, so it's easy access and it's not going to fall off. And then we have the sternum strap here, which is actually 2 straps, which I think is very comfortable for like a longer trip. It just adds a little bit more structure to a sternum strap, but there are 2, so it takes longer to put it on and take it off. And if you don't like sternum straps, you probably won't like that there's 2. And then we have the hip belt here, which is, you can stow it up here when you're not using it, which I really like, and then bring it down. You can also just completely take it off if you want to, just completely get rid of it if you're not going to use it. But I really do like it. It just kind of moves the weight around and is very comfortable. We have a no topper pocket on this side, and then a zippered pocket here for things you don't want to fall out. So very comfortable and very comprehensive here. So if you are finding this video helpful so far, make sure you throw a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so we can show you more content like this to help you travel smarter and more new releases like this Peak Design one. So as you can see, I have the backpack on right now. It is very like flush to my back, and that padding, I can just feel it like coursing all the way from my lower back up to my shoulder. So just so comfortable with the shoulder straps. It is a pretty big bag, and it can actually get bigger because it is expandable, which we'll get into. But no matter how much gear I had in here, because you can, again, expand it, or you can cinch it down if you are trying to carry less gear. Maybe you're gonna get more gear when you get somewhere, or you just don't have as much gear to put in it that day. You can cinch it down, and it's comfortable no matter how much gear you have in there, at least to me. So I really like this hip belt, especially for a bigger backpack like this. I know there is a smaller version of this backpack that doesn't come with the hip belt, so maybe I don't think you would need it for that one. But for this one here, I think it's a really great addition. And then I really like the two sternum straps, because it just feels like more structured around my chest here. And especially I was using this to ride my bike with, and I just felt like this backpack was not going anywhere. No matter what happened to me, I could go flying off my bike and this was still gonna be on there, and I like that. So something else that I think is worth mentioning before we dive into the pockets is that there are attachment loops all over this pack. So you can see here we have this little, just kind of looks like almost like a string that's running up the side of the bag. I'm going to try and show you a little bit better there, but those are all attachment loops. And you have those on the front here, on the back, they go around the top. They are everywhere. So you can really attach gear all over this thing, and I really like that, in addition to the awesome interior organization that you can attach that gear. And I think it's probably not as effective as like Molly or Pal's webbing or something like that, but I think it looks a lot better, and for me personally, it's just as functional. So I think that that's worth noting, that we have awesome stuff inside, but we also are able to attach a lot of gear around the outside. So we do have a few secondary compartments. We have two on the front here. You can see the zipper right here, and then another one on this side over here. So these are both pretty much identical pockets. They come to the center right here. They meet, so they don't go all the way across. They just are both take up half of the pocket. They go all the way up to here, and then all the way down to the bottom fold here as well. So there's no organization inside of here, but we do have an attachment loop on both sides on the top. So you can attach gear there. On this side right now, it has the key leash, so you can move this to the other side if you want, and it's pretty stretchy, and it just attaches up there like the rest of, I can kind of show you a little bit there. It just attaches, like loops around itself. As soon as I pulled it up, obviously, it did not want to show itself, but if you've seen the other way the gear loops are attached, it's pretty easy to move it, or you can get rid of it completely if you don't want to use a key leash. I like how it's stretchy because you can get a little bit of extra oomph out of it. But no organization here. I do like this because you can access these pockets while you're wearing the bag. So if you bring it over to this side, you can access one of the pockets. You bring it over to this side, you can access the other one. I will mention that I have range of motion issues with this arm. So when I bring it and try to use my right arm with one of the pockets, it is kind of challenging. The other one's no problem. I don't have any range of motion issues on this side. So just worth noting that if you have any arthritis or anything like that, if you got any plates in your arm like I do, it can be a little bit challenging just to kind of have the flexibility to do it. But that's a personal thing. It's nothing to do with the bag. That's just, human error, I guess we'll call it. So the other secondary compartment, we kind of have to get into this top compartment to talk about it. So as you can see, we have this cinch cord system here. So it's a roll top, but this cinch cord system kind of holds the roll top down, and also you can fit more gear inside of here. So if you were to put more gear inside of here, it's going to keep it a little bit tighter and make sure that this roll top does not come undone. So it's locked. So as you can see, I'm kind of just pulling it from the sides here, and it's not coming undone. But if you pull this little tab right here, it'll pop open. But wherever it lands, it's going to lock. So right now it's all the way out, but it's locked, so the cord's not going to come through. So no matter how much gear you have in here and how tight it is, it's going to lock no matter what. So I really like that feature, because no matter how much gear you have in here, it feels secure, and the roll top's not going to like pop open and fly open, because you have these two cords here on either side. So although we're not going into the main compartment right now, the other pocket is very close to it. It's called a kangaroo pocket. So this is the kangaroo pocket right here. So it goes all the way down here to the fold as well, the similar as these two front pockets. And the more gear you have in the bag, the harder it is to use this kangaroo pocket. And also it shares space with the two big side pockets. As you can see, we have a stretchy mesh material here on either side. It's almost like a gusset. So if you have a bunch of gear in the side pockets, it's going to take away from what you're able to do with the kangaroo pocket, and vice versa. So if you shove a bunch of stuff in here, it's going to kind of expand into this area here. So I really like how, If you have it really packed out, it can be kind of challenging to use both of them, but I was able to use them both on multiple occasions. You know, one time I went for a bike ride and it was raining, so I had a rain jacket on, and then it stopped. I was getting all warm because it got all humid, so I took that off, and I didn't really want to put it inside the bag because then the camera gear inside the bag would get wet. So I just stuffed it in the kangaroo pocket because it's not inside the bag, and we have protection with this laminate here to make sure, on both sides, there's laminate on this side as well to make sure that water doesn't go inside the bag. And then I still had a tripod in one of these and my water bottle in the other. So I was able to use all of the features at once, and it was just kind of secure in here like that. Obviously, in theory, with a big bump, something could come out of here. So if you put something really small in there, it could sneak out, but I didn't have that happen, and I did have some smaller stuff in here as well. So very intuitive pockets on the outside of this thing. So to get into the main compartment, we have 2 access points. So obviously we have the roll top up here. You pop this open again, you can see it in action. So right now, these 2 cords, let me show you a little bit better, are over top of that. Obviously it's loose, but that's kind of how it, you know, wrestles the roll top fastener there. So this is the roll top, and it secures with magnets, so you have a little bit of help in bringing this together. Obviously, if you had a ton of gear in there and it was like up this way or upside down, the gravity is going to open those magnets. But for most purposes, this actually works pretty well, in my opinion. So we have the roll top opening here, and that gives you a good look at how much extra gear you can stow inside of here, and also that you can get a pretty good look at the stuff that's on top from up here. But as you can see, this is a pretty big backpack, and I have camera stuff down here, and it's very hard for me to just, if I were to like try and pull a camera out of here, it's not going to work very well. So there is another way to do it. So I'm going to close this up so nothing comes tumbling out while I'm doing it. So real quick to just go like that, and then once you're ready, pull those strings, make sure they're going over the top. Typically when you are doing this like right up, they don't get stuck like that, but we're kind of sideways right now, so it's a little bit awkward. But we have, as I mentioned earlier about the zippers, we have a opening on this back side here. So I'm gonna try and get these out of the way a little bit. So we have a clamshell style opening down here, and I can also show you getting these this hip belt out of the way as well. Makes it a bit easier to get in here because otherwise they're kind of just like sitting down like that. So these come all the way down here. You can see these zippers come all the way, even a little bit past the curve. So you can really get a good look at the organization of this pack and get to the stuff that's down here. So this is how I use this bag. You could probably use it in a different way. You probably will use it in a different way, and I'll explain some of those ways as well. So this is a cheap camera cube that I've had for probably a decade. And I was able to use it with this backpack in the same way that you could use the Peak Design one. So I just have it like this, open up, I'm kind of caught on something there, open it up like this, and then fold the flap down. And then when I want to get into the bag, I just open up the back panel like this. I can get my camera, and it worked fine. Obviously, it does not work nearly as well. Let me grab these real quick, as it does with the various Peak Design camera cubes that we have here. We have a ton of different Peak Design camera cubes here, all the way up to this monumentally huge one here. So these ones do work a little bit better. I think this is the medium here, and I think you can use up to the large inside of here. So this is an older one, so you can't pull the sheet out, but you can actually use the older one as well because it just kind of folds down like that. So this just fits inside here like this. You have a ton more room. You can use the different organizers and stuff like that to organize your gear, and then it just kind of operates like a standard camera backpack would, where you have the opening, you have the padded area here that you can use with really any size of their camera cubes works here, all the way down to the smallest one. And if you use the biggest one, you don't have as much room for other gear like packing cubes and tech pouches and stuff like that. And if you use the smallest one, you have a ton of extra room for other gear like you're traveling. So if you're doing a trip that you're not, the main focus is not photography, you can just bring one of the small cubes, and then that works for you, and then you have all your first travel stuff. But if you're taking a trip that's revolving around photography, you bring the biggest one you can fit, put all your camera gear in there, and then maybe you have a carry-on and a personal item depending on how you're traveling, how you're getting there. Another way that I use this is one of the new slings that came out with this line as well. And so for a while, I have a camera inside here right now, and I would just let this sit in here, and I would leave this open so I have access to, this is just the Instax Mini that's inside here right now, or Instax Wide, sorry. And then this was kind of my little mini camera. There actually is a Peak Design camera cube inside of here, but that actually worked really well for me personally. And then if I get somewhere, I don't have a camera cube that kind of is obsolete once I get there, I can just use this as my bag. So my Fuji X-T3 fit in here. But as you can see, I'm getting very chaotic here, and I've just got stuff all over the place, but you can use this thing for so many different things, and I think that's what makes this bag so special. But one thing to know is there isn't a ton of organization inside of here. Just getting some of my other gear out of here. We've got the little flyer there for it. There isn't much organization inside of here, as you can see. Let me just grab that real quick, get it out of the way. We do have a laptop compartment up here on this side here that closes with a hook and loop fastener. If you don't want to bring a laptop, you can put a hydration bladder here, and then there is, you know, a little tab up here to hold up your hose, and then it can run all the way up here to the top and come out. Let me see if I can get my finger through there. And then we do have one small pocket. Let me go here real quickly. Up here at the top, a small zipper pocket right here made of mesh. So you have a zipper there, mesh, so you can put some, a little bit of good sized gear in there, but generally speaking, there's not much organization inside of here, so you're gonna wanna have a toiletry pouch and a tech pouch. And additionally, if you want to bring a water bladder, but you want to also bring a laptop, you could throw it inside the kangaroo pocket up front here. And one of the best things about this backpack is that you can use all of these features. If the backpack's completely full, you can still use all of the features. So very versatile backpack and very comfortable backpack, and I think it makes a great combo between camera gear and travel. So there you have it, the Peak Design Outdoor Backpack 45 liter. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you on the next one.